and the Spheres presents What Remains of the Magnus Institute. Episode 1, Hivemind.
Hello? Is this on? Is everything working? Right. Now, just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, testing. Can you hear me? Great news! It actually works. I was a bit worried about this whole thing, but it's holding up just fine. Sorry about that. I'm Sage Newbert, and I've been with the Magnus Institute for 2 years now? I started out just looking for a little job to help pay for uni, but I'm excited to share that I recently moved up to head archivist, and I couldn't be happier. Working for Miss Lemmings has been truly wonderful, and I don't think I could ask for anything more. Oh, I just realised whoever's listening won't know any of these names if I say them in passing. Sage, why must you be so daft? The Institute's head, Miss Sasha Lemmings, has provided me with 3 researchers to accompany me during my time as head archivist: Elijah Perry, Cara Jones, and David Holloway. Each is in artifact storage, file sorting, and editing respectively. Considering this place was rebuilt in Hastings sometime in 2021, it's fairly reasonable we'd need all hands on deck. I'm not too certain about the previous 2 head archivists. The most I know is their names, and that one was murdered. My main guess is that Mr. Jonathan Sims went missing, but the details of Miss Gertrude Robinson's death are beyond me. I assume it's because they don't want to spread controversy regarding the archives, since, well, we need this place for historical prospects. The old building was established in 1818 by one Jonah Magnus, giving it about 207 years of history under its belt, give or take. No offense to them, but I don't think just 2 people could cover the surface of these statements alone. According to David, there's thousands of files. So many you can make a card out of the lot. Sorry. Can't really do the best Cockney accent. Each statement will be followed up by me and my 3 assistants, all given proper credit, and each copy will be written and digitized along with faults, statements, and possible testimonies. So, everything can be organized and archived properly. But by the way, David, if you're listening, could you please set the printed statements in separate files? I have extra star stickers if you need to differentiate. Cheers. Now, let's see. Here we are. Statement of Lauren Newell regarding an encounter with an obscure aunt Hivemind. Original statement given 3rd April 2016. Audio recording by Sage Newbert, head archivist of the Magnus Institute, originally stationed in London, but moved to Hastings in 2021. Statement begins. I'd like to have it known that this wasn't any sort of recent phenomenon. This happened when I was a little girl in the summer of '04. And my dad's house always got infested to the brim with ants. It wasn't anything I minded, really. The most they did was get on my nerves, or bring an even worse thing in my room. The spiders, for the real reason I never wanted to go with him on weekends, truth be told. This happened around June, I think? Dad and I had just gotten back from seeing Scooby-Doo 2, the live-action one with Matthew Lillard, the same bloke who was Stu in Scream. The movie was steaming hot garbage. My dad and I knew it then, so he took me to get a Mr. Whippy. When we got it, I saw an ant. Not just one, but what I assumed to be thousands spinning along the scoop. I dropped and screamed. My dad went to complain, but the guy was already gone. We went to get proper treats, and I thought that was the end of it. God, even now I wish it still was. I don't know if God, Satan, or the universe decided to play a cruel joke on me specifically, but everywhere I would go, they would follow. They would all be in the same pattern, one continuous spiral. Sometimes they'd be large enough to cover the whole floor. Others would be small enough to fill up a corner. All across the tables, the chairs, the walls, everything. All I saw on them were ants, each horribly wriggling shape, each twitch of the mandible. I was aware of it all. Sometimes I would close my eyes, and the spiral of ants would be there waiting for me. I wondered if they ever crawled on my face when I was asleep, if they ever touched me when I couldn't see them. I always felt incurably itchy whenever I stayed with my dad. I complained a few times, but every doctor he took me to wrote it off as a placebo. I'm sure that's what you'll do too, right? Yeah, I started to believe them until I came home one day to him dead. Would you like to know what I saw coming out of every crevice of his body? I didn't either. It was ants. Black, spiraling ants. I screamed because that was all they could do, but that only attracted more of them. I ran and ran, but there were far too many. It was a time when cell phones were new, so I could barely do anything but watch as all the horrid little legs crawled on top of me. Prevented me from going out the door. I saw my dad's body move up, asking me if I feared them now. I shrieked and jumped out the window. The ants went to follow me, but our colony was way slower than a pair of human legs rushing with adrenaline. I went into central Manchester to try and find a payphone to dial my mum. She picked me up after hearing I jumped through a window and gave me a right old lecture. If only she had seen what I did that day. Understandably, I didn't want to talk about it. What kind of kid would? Every therapist told my mum it was a combination of PTSD, selective mutism, and abuse from my dad. I wanted to be known that my dad was, and forever will be, my hero. A good man until the day he died. All that I said at his funeral. The only people who went there were me, my mum, and my dad's family. After my mum told Nan what the therapist said, my mum's family wanted nothing to do with my dad. Still angry they couldn't have at least paid the man respects at his own bloody funeral. I haven't come clean about the truth, because I know if I did, people would brush me off, or worse. The only one I really went into detail about this to was my best friend, Taylor Hulbert, who recommended I write a statement to you guys. I'm not sure if it'll help anything, and I fully expect it to be lost under a mountain of dingy papers. But I suppose she was right about me lightening up once I got it down. So, thanks, I guess. The only downside is, to this day, I'm still afraid of ants, plunging into a full-on panic attack whenever I see one. God forbid it crawls on me. I see that's a thing I'll need to unpack proper with Taylor. Or perhaps a therapist. The statement ends. Well, that was a lot to unpack there. The only definitive evidence of supernatural properties is, unfortunately, the word. But I can go into the biological aspects of this statement in detail. This is a solid case of the Hivemind disease, often seen as a parasite in creatures like ants. The closest thing for something like this, however, is a zombie ant virus, a type of fungal infection that turns an ant's brain completely off, taking it over entirely. However, there isn't an abundance of evidence about this other than what I've researched already. If these were mammals, I'd chalk it up to chronic wasting disease or any brain-eating parasite. Further research shows that this phenomenon is known as an ant mill. Upon seeing a photograph, I can say for certain that this is what Miss Newell described in her statement. However, ants aren't exactly predatory creatures, so I'm uncertain if this holds much truth as she says. And again, I work for a paranormal research institution, so who am I to be skeptical? Miss Nemmings has informed me that neither Miss Newell nor Miss Hulbert would like to do a follow-up on this statement, both with fairly reasonable trauma and privacy arguments that we decided not to pry about. After all, it's their choice. I just hope that Miss Newell gets the proper help and recovery she needs. Recording ends.
What Remains of the Magnus Institute was created by user _living_in_your_trash_can_ on all platforms. This episode was written and performed by said person, fully unlicensed, and under no affiliation with Rusty Quill, the Magnus Archives, or the Magnus Protocol. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time!